Welcome to the session. Topic of this session is project implementation. You are aware that the project is organized to achieve some predetermined objectives and with a given resources, given personnel, given budget, and actually we want to achieve the quality output out of the project. And basically project involve a series of activity starting from the identification of the project to preparation of the project, then implementation of project, the monitoring of the project, the evaluation of the project, and impact assessment of the project. And actually in case of the project preparation, we conduct the various feasibility studies, technical feasibility studies, the financial feasibility studies, the economic feasibility studies, and then we identify the objectives, intended objectives, we define the objectives, and then we arrange the we prepare the budget or at all. But the project implementation is the most important stage or aspect of the project, because even if we prepare the very good project and the proposal is very good, designing is very good, but the implementation is not good, in that condition so we will not able to achieve the output, the project outcome. So project implementation is the very important stage, and actually in the project implementation aspect there are three important things. One is the preparing the project schedule, then the define the terms of reference. Term of reference means the scope and limitation of the project. Then they also design the or fix the project boundaries, the activities, level of the activity, scope of the activity, the resources constant, the outcome or the target groups. So project boundaries also we have to fix so that we can implement the project in a very targeted manner. So in this session basically we will be learning about the project implementation, and actually three important aspects: how to prepare the project schedule, then what are the things which we have to include in the terms of references, and then how to define the project boundaries so that we can achieve the targeted objectives or intended objective of the project. So actually after the appraisal of the project or selecting a project, and after the approving of the project, actually we start the this implementation stage. So in the project appraisal, actually it is after the project appraisal we start the the implementation activity, and this appraisal activity is just like conducting the feasibility studies like technical feasibility, financial feasibility, and social viability of the project. We have to conduct the different. So after conducting this feasibility studies and preparing the a brief or project, or after the completing the appraisal of the project from the sponsor agency, actually we start developing the detailed project report actually. So we have to prepare the detailed project report, and this detailed project report is similar to the feasibility report, but here we include more elaborated information. We provide more elaborated details and in the detailed project report. So every aspect of the project is defined, is given, is described in the detailed project report. So there are different components actually in the detailed project report, DPR. Actually after taking the decision based on the appraisal of the project, actually we start working on preparing the detailed project report, and here we have to fix the about the establishment of a project organization. We have to identify what will be the organization, how we will organize this project activities. So the level of the persons, the project management team, so all types of structure, basically institutional infrastructure, institutional setup we described in the detailed project report. Then we also describe about the project staff, how many project staff will be required, what type of skills we required in the project. So everything has to be defined in the DPR. Then budgeting of the project also is given in the DPR, so we have to prepare detailed project, and here budget we have to define for the money, resources, the input resources. So how this budget will be arranged, from where we will get the sponsorship. So every aspect of the budget is defined in the DPR. Then in the DPR also we define the implementation plan. Actually here we prepare the time scheduling of the project. So for preparing the time scheduling for different activities, we can use the network analysis, CPM or part analysis we can use, and we have to prepare the detailed time scheduling of all the activities which has to be undertaken for the project implementation. And here also resource allocation is also prepared in the detailed project report. And actual implementation of the project is undertaken as per the detailed scheduled plan. So after preparing the schedule of the activities or their timing, we start the actual implementation of the project. And after implementation we have to also take the monitoring activities in the implementation stage. And then if there is any lacuna, is there any constraints, is there any problem in the getting our output from during the implementation stage, we report the deviation to the project manager or the higher authority or sponsoring agency, or we take the corrective measures and to remove these constraints, the lacunas, and proceed with further implementation. So basically in the implementation we have to do monitoring, and then is there any lacuna or problem, so we have to take the corrective measures and we go for further implementation. And the project schedule is the most important activity of the project implementation. So after the selection of the project or after the approval of the project by the management, we start with the preparatory stage to the actual implementation. So before implementation we do some preparatory work, and in the preparatory work basically there are two activities are done. One is the planning, another is the scheduling. So in the planning, basically how we will be implementing the projects that we decide. So actually what are the different activities to be undertaken for the project implementation, we decide, we plan in the planning in the preparatory phase, and then we have to do scheduling. So how the implementation should be carried out. So here we fix the time frame for the different activities. So there are these two stages we have to prepare in the preparatory stage before the implementation stage, and the level of activities and project cost rise rapidly during this phase. Actually in this preparatory phase before the implementation, the cost of activities, the level of the activity started increasing. So many people started working in the project. We started the planning of the purchasing or procurement of the inputs. So cost of activity project started increasing during this phase, and the number of the personnel assigned to the project also increases manifold during this stage. So that's why the cost of the project started increasing at this time. And actually we have to undertake different activities in preparing the project schedule, like we have to set up a technical team to decide on how the project can be implemented. So here we have to identify the technical team, like if we have the project on agricultural income enhancement. So in that we have identified 2-3 important components, like supplying of the high yielding variety seeds. So here we have to find the technical person from the plant breeding side, or if we want to increase the marketing prices or we want to give the marketing support, then we have to find out the people who are having the marketing expertise. So we have to identify the technical teams, so they decide on the different activities which has to be undertaken during the implementation stage. And here actually in this stage we plan for the requirement of the personnel and finance and materials. So here the planning for the different types of staffs, the engagement with the different agency, internal and external, we have to decide, and then we have to also decide the requirement of the finance and materials, raw materials in the project activity. and then we prepare a schedule keeping in view the dates given by the client, management, government or authority. So actually when we prepare the schedule of the project activity, we always keep in mind the date which are given by the authority while sectioning the project. So if they have given the date of project implementation for 2 years, so we have to plan accordingly that our project activity is completed within 2 years, and also we have to provide some time as a buffer time to meet some unexpected events or mishappening during the project implementation. So sometimes we have to give this buffer time because sometimes there is a delay in the supply of the raw material due to some weather conditions or maybe some mishappening, some accidents. So that's why we have to provide some buffer time always. That is better to achieve the project outcome. And then we will move to the terms of reference. Basically, these terms of reference are prepared during the earlier stage of the project management. Actually terms of reference basically we have to fix the scopes and limitation of the projects. So where, how much, what type of activity we have to take. So we have to take complete decisions about the terms of reference of the project, and actually this terms of references is prepared immediately after the approval of the project. So when we get the project approval from the sponsoring agency, from the government, from the any other agency, international donor, we start preparing the terms of references, and basically this terms of reference document is prepared by the project management and are presented to the project sponsor for approval. So after getting the approval of the project, actually then we prepare the detailed activity or terms of references, and then we again present this terms of reference to the sponsoring agency for their approval, so that we have their complete consent about the project activity. So and when we develop this terms of reference, actually project team members, they have the clear definition of the scope of the project, so they can very well understand the scope of the projects, what types of activity they have to do, what the things they have to achieve. So and when we are prepare this these terms of references, actually the project team is ready to progress with the creation of the remaining the project deliverables. So when the terms of reference is there and their clear understanding is there with the project team, they can go they can undertake the activities to deliver the things which we have committed in the project. So actually, and the terms of reference, there are different tasks there are different component of terms of references there. Actually we need to define all these components in the terms of references, and sometimes there are consultants or advisors who are available, who are engaged in the project activities. So they specifically describe the different tasks and while deciding the terms of reference. So project charter, project governance, project management, project manager, risk management, quality management, business and project analysis, these are the different components we have to fix, we have to decide while deciding about the terms of references. So we need to clearly define all these components while deciding the terms of references. So first task of this terms of reference is to prepare this project charter, and a project charter is basically a statement of the scope, objectives and participants in a project. So it give complete details in brief about the scope of the project, the objectives which we want to achieve, and the participants, the project teams, the beneficiaries, so all types of the clienteles are decided in the project charter. And project charter basically provide it is the preliminary delineation of the role and responsibilities. So what are the different role in the project and responsibility with the staff, and outline the project objective also. And then we identify the different stakeholders of the project and define the authority of the project manager. So here we fixed the accountability and role of the project manager also in the deciding or preparing the project charter, and it serves as a reference of authority for the future of the project. Actually Actually, when we fix the authority or power of the project manager, so this serves as a reference while implementing the project in the field, and the terms of reference are usually part of the project charter. So in a project charter, actually we define these all the terms of references, and it is usually a short document that refers to more detailed documents. So actually, in brief, actually we have to prepare the scope, the objectives, the stakeholders. So that is basically a project charter. And the second part of the terms of reference is the project governance. Project governance is basically a management framework within which the project decisions are made. So actually here how we will be implementing, who will be taking the decisions related to projects. So what are the different organizations or people or the level of people are involved in the project activities. So that's everything is defined in the project governance. So actually it is a basically human aspect, the managerial capacity or implemental skills, all this is to be defined in the project governance. And project governance is a critical element of any projects, because every decisions regarding the purchasing power, the dispersing some activities or disbursement power of the money. So everything is decided in the project governance. So the accountability and responsibility associated with an organization's business as usual activities are laid down in the organization government arrangements. Just generally when we see the organizational pattern of organizations, we can see who is the director, who is the deputy director, who is the assistant director. So from that framework we can see their role, their capability, their responsibility, their accountability. In case of the organization who are they are taking the usual activity, business as usual activity, for them the project governance is very well defined. But in case of the project activities, here we have to specifically develop the project governance, actually to chart out the project development activities. So we have to specifically develop the project governance, because it is a temporary arrangement to undertake the special activity, unique activities, with unique objective. So it is not a regular activity of a organization, it is then a different activity. So for that purpose we have to develop a special project governance, and role of the project governance is to provide a decision making framework to conduct both its business as usual activity and its project activity. So project governance is basically provide the decision making framework, decision making power to the persons who are engaged in the project activity. Then another terms of reference task is the project management. Basically it is the discipline. The management is the discipline of planning, organizing, motivating and controlling resources to achieve specific goals. So here again in the project also we have to do this activity, and the project management is a temporary endeavor in case of the project actually, and it start with the beginning of the project and end with the end of the project. So it is basically a temporary endeavor, and actually this project management is undertaken to meet unique goal and objectives which are specific to the project. And here also we require technical skills and management strategy to achieve the unique goal and objectives. And in case of the project management, the primary challenge is to achieve the goal and objective while reckoning the pre-conceived constraints. So here we have limited resources, we have the limited time, and within given time we have to achieve the objectives of the project. So this is one of the most important constants we can say in the case of the project activity. And so primary constants generally in the case of the project, we have the scope, because the scope is defined, time is given, and budget is also given, and within this framework, within this constants, we have to achieve the quality of product from the project activity by the project management. And secondly, challenge is to optimize input use to meet predefined objectives. So so we have to optimize the input, we have to optimize the resource available to meet the predefined objective. Then project management, a project manager is a critical, he is basically or she is basically a professional in the field of the project management. So we identify a project manager to implement the project activities, actually who is responsible for the planning, executions and closing of any project. So he is basically responsible all type of activity for taking all type of decision in the project activity. And sometimes there may be different name of the project manager according to the nature of the project. Like if we have the we are offering a course, so we can say the course coordinator. If you are having a research project, we can say principal investigator. Or if if there is a one extension activity or extension project is there, so we can say the director of extension sometimes. So there may be different names there, but their ultimate role or responsibility in the project is to plan the project activity, then implement that project activity, and after achieving the project activity or objectives, we close down the project. So all three activities has to be done by the project manager. And the risk management is another aspect basically in the project implementation. So actually identification of the risk, assessment of the risk and prioritization of risk is very important, and actually this is done by coordinated economical application of the resources. So after identification of the risk or identification of the or priority of the risk, actually when we identify, then we allocate the resources to meet our objectives. So here objective is to minimize the risk, monitor and control the probability or impact of the unfortunate events. So there in case of the agriculture, sometimes we have the crop failures due to the pest infestations. So here we need to develop some strategies so that we can minimize the impact of that crop failure due to the pest infestation. We may have diverse crops, diversify our cropping patterns. So there will be loss of one activity or one crop only. So we need to develop this strategy to minimize the risk in the project activity. And actually our purpose is to maximize the realization of the opportunity or objectives or intended goal. So for that purpose we need to have risk management strategy. This risk management strategy should be clearly defined in the terms of reference of the project. And there may be different types of risk or in the project activity based on the nature of the project. We can say there are different sources. In a business project, we can say the uncertainty in the financial market or project failure at any stage or some legal liabilities. In case of agriculture also, sometimes we find if we are developing a canal project or we have a dam construction project, sometimes there is a problem in the acquisitions of land. So legal liabilities or legal problems are there. Sometimes credit risks are there, accidents or natural causes and disasters are there, or some event of uncertain and unpredictable root causes. There are many risk sources in case of project implementation, and there are several risk management standards are there, procedures are there. Using that standards and procedures, we can minimize the risk in the project activity. And quality management is very important, and this quality management is specific with the sectors. Suppose in case of agriculture production, actually sometimes quality is the size of the grain, we can say, or sometimes the taste of the grain. So it is best available or decided based on the sector of the project, or so if we have the construction project, so we can say the life of the building will be the quality parameters. So these quality parameters are specific with the sectors, and actually to ensure that an organization or product is consistent, there are four main components we need to be considered while deciding on the terms of references. One is the quality planning. We have to do planning for the quality achievement, then quality control, quality assurance and quality improvement. So we have to have some plan about all these four components. And Quality management is focuses on product and service quality as well as mean to achieve it. So not only the product or final services, but also how we are achieving this product or the through means or the process, that is also important part of the quality management of a project. And the business and project analysis is another the component of the terms of references of the project, and it is basically a research discipline. It is basically the research aspect of the project. Actually, here in this terms of references, we identify the business or project needs and determine the solution to business or project problems. So actually, in this aspect, basically we fix the system to identify the problems during the implementation stage, and we develop some solutions. So there may be system development component for the solution, process improvement we have to suggest, we have to define, then organization change or strategic plan we have to do, or policy development we have to do to provide the solution if any arises during the project implementation stage. And the person who carries out this task is called as business analyst or project analyst. So these are the important terms of reference in the project implementation. And the last part of the project implementation is the project boundaries. So here in the project boundary, basically we identify the project scope. Then this scope statement basically help us to establish the boundary of the project, and scope helps us to define the size and shape of the intended objectives. And through this scope or boundary, basically we identify the requirement to achieve the outcomes which are identified in the project, which we have intended to achieve in the project. And there may be many deliverables or sub objectives, and they describe the scope boundaries. So and only actually when we define this project boundary, only external deliverables should be listed, not the internal deliverables, like in case of the agriculture project. So if our target is to increase the irrigation in the 10% more area, so we have to give the 10 how much area under irrigation has been increased out of this project. So but actually we should not give the how much area we have covered under the dam, how many dams we have covered. So actually external deliverable which have been defined to the sponsoring agency, which we should include in the project boundaries in the deliverable listed items. And now we can sum up this project, that project implementation depends on the project schedule, which will spread over a period of time from 0 day to the date of starting till the commissioning of the project, and terms of reference which include the project charter, the project governance, project management, project manager, risk management, quality management, project and business analysis should be clearly defined to undertake project implementation effectively. And the project boundary have to be understood. In order to implement the project successfully, we need to clearly understand the scope of the project, intended objectives, deliverables, and resource requirement for effective execution of the project. Thank you very much.